Hi guys, so this video here is taken from a full course on building a track from scratch in Logic. You'll be able to watch all of the Logic related videos for the course on YouTube. There will be a link to the playlist below for you. But in this course, we're basically building this whole track from scratch. If you want to follow along with that, you can. And if you want to download the project file and all the samples that go with the course, there's a link to that in the description as well. I hope this video is useful to you and that you're able to follow along with the course. Let's jump into it.
Feeling heavy, but now I'm steady, going up from hitting the ground.
So at the minute, the REESE line is just kind of sitting there, moving along. It does its job, it's filling the space. But I feel we can layer this up with something else. So I'm just going to make a duplicate of that and get rid of the EQ on it, on the duplicate. I'm going to copy the REESE down here. And the alchemy patch, I'm going to switch out for an ES2. And I have a couple of preset REESEs that I've made. I'm just going to pop this one in here and see how this works with it. Add in a lot more weight and a lot more of that natural REESE D&B feel. I think having it in as a second layer would be good. Now we're getting some minor pops and clicks with the way it's being played in this instance. So what we're going to do is reduce the voices down to 1, put it in legato. That'll just help it slide from note to note. I'm slightly worried that we're going to have some issues with it phasing a lot left to right. On the channel itself, I'm just going to go into Utility, Gain, Stereo, and here we can mono sum it real quick and just make sure that it does actually still work in mono. Certainly loses a lot of the weight. What we can do is leave the gain plugin up with mono on and continue to tweak the ES2 preset until we can get some of that low end back. There's a few different areas we can look at. Detune would potentially be a good place to start. Detune not giving us the result we need. So the solution to get some of the feel back working in mono has been to switch off unison and adjust the balance down to the lower of the 3. Something I want to happen now is for these two to also work together and be treated together as well. So we're going to do our same trick as we did before and just make a bus for them. Rename it. Now we've both got them together here in a bus. Just click up here and we can introduce a compressor. And the studio FET is probably probably going to be quite nice here because it's kind of a noisy compressor, add some feel to it. So I'm just going to dial it back. I just want to control it by about 3 dB and have it all respond together. Attack wise, going to be a little bit slower, something like 87. And release wise, probably about 120. You'll notice as well, I just ratio a lot to get the level of compression I'm after. If you dial back threshold, you can get a lot more responsiveness. So ratio, if I was to put the ratio right up, you're going to get it compressing very smoothly. However, if I was to play with a threshold, I can get it to jump a lot more because it's dependent on those sort of pulses of level. So it's a balance between the two and the taste that you're after. Now it's jumping up in level with the auto gain at -12 here. So I'm going to switch it off and gain it up manually to 3.5, which seems to be the maximum we really take out there. Let's just see how it goes from the single into having the extra sub in there. That's good. It feels a lot more like a drop. It builds up. You don't instantly go, oh, there's a new bass in there. You just kind of feel it all swell up. And that was the kind of thing that I was after really with doing that. But the other thing I think I'd like to do is adjust the cutoffs of both over time so they can build up and ebb and flow a little bit rather than just being this static, like a wobbly sound that's in there. So we're going to hit A for automation and zoom in just a little bit using the mouse wheel. And what I'm going to do is select just this REESE block here, tap U to loop round it. I'm going to set both of these to find the cutoff. So the ES2, the low pass filter cutoff. And in Alchemy, we need to go, let's go to source A, filter 1 and filter 1 cutoff. And that's where we've reduced it there. Okay, so what this lets us do is balance between the two. So we can do things like open up the cutoff on the ES2 separately to the Alchemy one, allowing us to really play around with how it's going to perform. We could do this potentially over each note. We can just use the pencil tool to just click and drag in. If you like, you can assign these to a controller and use that to manually draw them in. By no means an incorrect way to work. I actually really enjoy doing that. Like I said at the start of this course, I wanted to make it so it's accessible for everyone. So if you are just point and click, you can do it that way. If you want to link it to a controller and do it with a control, it's absolutely a great way to go. Cool, so that's clearly too much. And we're just going to play around with things like that just to get a little bit of a different feel. We can see how we can get slightly altered sound per note, different points in the note if we so desire. You can always use the marker here to line it up with key moments in the track. One thing I wish Logic really had was the ability to add like a wave in here. I could make like an extra pulse occur, but alas, still not yet. Something FL Studio wins massively for. Dial those back slightly, and we'll have this push up right at the end. So we press T and W, just going to use the curve there. This might seem like all really trivial small details, but all of those hundreds of little small details will build up throughout the course of a track, and that's really where you get character from in electronic music. It is where it exists and how it kind of transpires in a track. I think something like that. So now let's listen to it before the automation and then with the automation. Yeah, so what a difference that makes. It makes that segment there much more listenable because there's this constant change happening, not just a change of note. And it's going to be really subtle when you listen to it in the track, but it's going to make a big difference overall.
So tell me, I need some more.
When the vocal comes in, it works quite well that it's no longer kind of showing off in the background and poking through the mix because it's all about the vocal at that point. What I will do though is take it from here and apply it again to this first section. It's not going to be a repeat because it's not juxtaposing and fighting with the second bass. So what we're going to do here is just change our second tool to the marquee tool. And we're just going to hold Command. We can highlight all of this. And then by holding Option, we can just drag that automation along and set it in about the right place on the first section as well. So this is going to sound different to this because then we've got the juxta of the other bass coming in and then they both flatten off and let the vocal take over. We've kind of got different parts of the track all performing at different sections now. So let's listen through. Hopefully that's made sense and then it's a good constructive idea for you in creating your track. Cool, so having a listen to that, let's use the marquee tool again. What we're going to do is move the sections ever so slightly so that they don't compete with the vocal, but instead work in these intermittent bits in between. In fact, we won't need to use the marquee tool. What we can do is take this section here, have this quick little spike up here as well. That's going to end just as the vocal comes in there. and we'll just line it up with that there. That's all going to be a bit much, so we'll dial it back a bit. Yeah, and that just there is going to start rising up for this section here. I'm going to try and bring this little wobbly bit in just before this next section starts, like that. And I am as well going to put another point in right at the end where we're just going to really raise it exponentially, but we're going to curve it in like that. We've now got a slightly different performance working with the vocal. Then we've got the two basses performing together. And then we've got pretty much no automation as the whole vocal takes over. I am really, really happy with the way that's sounding. Let's move on to our next creative endeavor.
I should've